During the French Revolution, Rousseau once famously said, "When the people have nothing more to eat, they will eat the rich." Far more than the American people, the French respond to times of trouble and crisis with radicalism. The French Revolution was preceded by a flour war, in which peasants rebelled against rising bread prices, believing there was a baker's conspiracy.
So the proposition that I've been on front lines of corporate price fixing is just to get that out of the way.
You worked for a company that was fixing bread prices.
A search for grain was at the center of the storming of the Bastille. The French Revolution, of course, is absolutely legendary for its initial Republican promise, brutal class conflict, and the Great Terror, in which an air of paranoia led the revolutionaries to begin killing each other off in droves. Francisco Goya's famous painting, Saturn Devouring His Son, is often thought of as a metaphor for the French Revolution. More revolutions followed in 1830, 1848, and the Paris Commune in 1871. Most of these moments in French history were reactions to widespread food shortages in a deeply unequal society.
Red, the blood of angry men. Black, the dark of ages past.
In Delicatessen, a film by Marc Caro and Pierre Jeunet, two visionary French directors imagined what a post-apocalyptic France would look like. Although we don't know exactly what the cause is, a scene between the butcher, played by Jean-Claude Dreyfus, and a taxi driver talk about how the food just isn't growing anymore. Neither is his hair.
C'est le rationnement. Les gens bouffaient leur godasse. Il y a du danger, hein?
A fair bet would be that the apocalypse was related to World War II, and we were looking at a variation on Vichy France. A thick smog covers the city, buildings are crumbling and dilapidated, and since food isn't growing, seeds become a form of currency.
Du maïs, du maïs, du maïs, des lentilles, du maïs.
Throughout the movie, we get some hints about how bad things really are.
Comment ça va en ville? Mal, très mal.
The butcher, Clapet, makes a comment about how even the rats have been totally driven out.
C'est un impôt pour les rats. Ça imite le cri de la femelle et ça attire les mâles.
Il y a quoi de bon? Il y a même plus de rats.
You'd think it would be a bad time to be a butcher, but one food supply very much still does exist: human beings. The butcher lures young men to come live in his dilapidated apartment building, and the tenants help catch them, and then they feed on the meat. Marie-Laure Dognac plays Julie, the butcher's daughter, who is one of the few characters who seems not to have been totally destroyed by desperation. The other character, who seems almost oblivious to how bad things really are, is Louison, played by Dominique Pignon. Before whatever caused this, Louison was a famous clown who had a chimpanzee partner. And this is where we see the influences in time period being satirized really show up. Delicatessen is a grotesque parody of French Golden Age cinema, especially the film Children of Paradise by Marcel Carnet. Children of Paradise has been called, by French critics, the greatest film ever made. It was made under Vichy French conditions between 1943 and 1945. It is set in 1830s France after the July Revolution and tells the story of four men, one of which is a mime, and their love stories. Dominique Pignon's Louison is clearly inspired by that character. The last thing I'd like to bring up is that a secret underground group, modeled after the French Resistance, runs through the sewers and drains in the world of Delicatessen. They try to rescue those who are going to be butchered. Both desperation and resistance are clear to the French story. And in this film, the absurdity that follows that story is central.
À quoi? C'est pas ce qu'on avait dit? Place des Albumines, nom Louison. Tiens, c'est écrit là. Banque. Il y a aussi décrit sexe masculin. Chaussures de clown, qu'est-ce que tu dis de ça? Faudrait contrôler, hein. Sexe masculin. Sexe masculin.